Hello grade 9s and welcome to the second part of the video on factorizing trinomials. In this part, we're going to be looking at trinomials that have a negative constant. Unlike the previous video where the constant was always positive, in this video the constant will be negative. The first problem says, factorize x squared plus 13x minus 30. Since we have no highest common factor, we can already start to factorize the trinomial by writing out two sets of brackets and taking a look at the first term. In this case, the first term is x squared. So that tells us that the first term in each set of brackets will be x, because of course, x multiplied by x is x squared. Now we can decide which sign to use in each bracket by taking a look at the last term in the trinomial. Here the term is negative, which tells us that the signs in the brackets are going to be different. What I mean by that is one bracket will have a positive sign and the other will have a negative sign. Now we need to find factors of negative 30 that when added together will produce the positive 13, which is the coefficient on the second term. Of course, that can be a bit tricky because one of the signs on the factors must be positive and one of the signs on the factors must be negative, because of course, positive multiplied by negative will give us the negative on the 30. So, in order to decide which one of the factors in the set must get the positive, we notice that 13, the coefficient on the second term, is positive. That tells us that the bigger of the two factors must get the positive sign, while the smaller of the two factors will get the negative sign. Let's write out a set of factors of negative 30 to make sense of this. For example, we can say 30 multiplied by 1 to get 30. Notice that I put a positive on the 30 and a negative on the 1. The reason for the positive on the 30 is because 30 is the bigger of the two factors. So we put a positive on the 30 and a negative on the 1. Then positive 30 times negative 1 gives us negative 30. And of course, we will need to add those together to see if we end up with the positive 13, the coefficient on the second term. Of course, this is not the only set of factors of 30 or factors of negative 30. So we write out other sets of factors. And now we can start to test which set of factors will work. We say positive 30 minus 1. That gives positive 29, which is not the coefficient on the second term. So that's not going to work. We say positive 15 minus 2. That gives the positive 13. So since this is the set of factors that will work, we can ignore all of the other sets of factors. We were lucky because we got it right on the second try. Now be very, very careful. The 15 must be positive and the 2 must be negative. So we place the 15 in the bracket with the positive sign and the 2 in the bracket with the negative sign. We are now done factorizing the expression, but remember grade 9s, you can always test your answer by simplifying it. And if you find, as I have, that the expression you obtain when you simplify is exactly the same as the expression you were given in the problem, then you know for a fact that you have factorized successfully. The last problem in this video says, factorize a squared minus 5a minus 24. There's no highest common factor, so we can skip along and start factorizing the trinomial. We take a look at the first term, which here is a squared. So the first term in each set of brackets will be a, because a multiplied by a is of course a squared. Now to decide on the signs, we take a look at the last term, which like the previous problem is negative. That negative tells us the signs are different, so we write down a positive in the one bracket and a negative in the second bracket. Now we need to find factors of negative 24 that when multiplied together will give negative 24, but when added together will give us negative 5. So remember, since we have different signs, one of the factors will get the positive sign and the other will get the negative sign. The question is, which one will get the negative sign? Since the second term here is negative 5a, we know that the bigger of the two factors will get the negative sign in this case. Okay, so unlike in the previous problem where the second term was positive and the bigger got the positive sign, here since the second term is negative, the bigger factor gets the negative sign. So we list a few factors of negative 24, which when multiplied together will of course give us negative 24, but when added together have the possibility of giving us negative 5. We write that down. All of the bigger factors have the negative and all of the smaller factors have the positive sign. We're now going to add them together to test which set of factors will give us negative 5, starting with negative 24 plus 1. That gives us a negative 23, so that's not going to work. The next is negative 12 plus 2. That's negative 10, so that's also not going to work. But negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So that is the set of factors that will work for this problem. Very important, your 8 and 3 can't go anywhere. The 8 must go where the negative sign is, and the 3 must go where the positive sign is. In writing this down, we have factorized successfully, but remember you can always test your answer, and if you find that you end up with exactly the same expression as you started off with, you know that you have factorized correctly. Grade 9s, we have reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've learned as much as you hoped to learn, and remember that the only way to ensure that you remember all of this content is by practicing. So make sure to practice as much as possible by using the worksheet on the Junior Techie website, and remember there's a memo on the website as well, so you can mark your answers using that memo too. All the best. I hope to see you in the next video.